The Grave of the Fireflies. In the waning days of World War II, we follow two youngsters, an older brother and young sister, as they struggle to survive in the harsh environment of 1945 Japan. David, what's this directed by?
All right. So, directed by Isao Takahata.
He did movies like Lupin the Third, Only Yesterday. He wrote and directed My Neighbor is Yamada's Tale of Princess Kaguya, Pompoko, and he also, shout out to Chelsea, written and directed every single episode of Heidi, A Girl of the Alps, which is like basically an adaptation of Heidi, I think is what it's referred to. No? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a very cutesy anime from like the 60s. And this guy like directed all of those. So it's really funny to see him do a really cutesy kind of thing.
And then do this.
What
a pedigree.
What a pedigree.
So yeah, written by Isao Takahata, based on an original manga by Akiyuki Nosaka, starring Tsutomu Tatsumi and Ayano Shira. I lost my ability to read for a second. Shirashi.
Okay.
Shirashi. Yeah.
Budget of $3.7 million, which was a lot for 87, and box office of only 838,000, roughly, with a runtime of 1 hour and 29 minutes. All right, David, here we go. Grave of the Fireflies. I'm going to get it out of the way. This movie's sad. Made me not cry, because I don't really cry at films. I've only cried at maybe one. Teared up at a few others. That's about it.
Was it Transformers Dark of the Moon?
I was outside of the theater. I cried at it after I watched it. And no, it was Revenge of the Fallen, David. Anyway, this film's very sad. Not a whole lot of hope. But that's something I forgot to mention about the last one. It's excellently animated. Like this one, this was the first film next to Totoro that is under the Studio Ghibli logo. And it was a very impressive movie that I think was way ahead of its time when you look at it. And look at it in hindsight now.
Yeah, nowadays. The animation is stunning in this movie.
Stunning. Like the fire specifically is, wow. Just looks amazing, the hand-drawn animation there.
And the use of light and color in this movie is something else.
On a whole nother level. It's crazy good. Like, I always thought Nausicaa looked great, which came out 3 years before this. But this one, I feel like, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like it exceeds that as well. Like, there's not much bombastic craziness that's happening in this film compared to Nausicaa. Also, that's a fantasy. But imitating real life, Ghibli really, with this and Totoro, really nailed it on the head in terms of portraying that in a very beautiful way. So, yeah, beautifully animated. The voice work's really good, especially knowing that these kids were actual kids of the same age that they're portraying, which was really interesting to learn. We watched the Japanese version, the original cut, subtitles, and yeah, fantastic movie. And correct me if I'm wrong, David, but everybody leading up to this film saying, it's the saddest film you're ever going to watch. You are going to cry. Tears will be running down your eyes and ears and nose and mouth and everywhere. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. There's nothing redeemable about it, bro. It's just sad. You'll cry your ass off, you know? I'm like, okay. And then I watch it and I'm like, wow, that was really sad. But I'm just not depressed after watching it, honestly. Like, yes, people died in this film. And we can straight up just spoil this one if you want. But
everyone dies.
It's a tragedy, okay? As Shakespeare once said. And it's a very well done tragedy. So, yeah. What did you think of The Grave of the Fireflies?
Yeah. It was... Yeah, it deserves every bit of praise it gets. This, like, you know, it's one of those things is like sometimes movies can be overrated. You know, they can be lauded by reviewers and then you watch them and you're like, well, I see what they were saying, but I wouldn't call this film a masterpiece. No, this film is a masterpiece in every
100%.
sense of the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is, it's one of those things. It's not going to be one you're going to want to watch over and over again.
No.
Because it is such a dark movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a complete masterpiece.
Dude.
Honestly, it's crazy to think it, but it's almost a perfect movie.
Yeah.
There's really nothing I could really...
There's no fat to this at all.
Yeah, there's really nothing you could, like, call a flaw in this movie.
Like, the performances are great. Animation's stellar. Even the directing, like, the choices of what they show and what they don't show is expertly handled. Like, you could tell this dude knew what he was doing. So, anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I had to say.
Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, well, it's funny. I was doing just some research on this. Apparently, this was released alongside My Neighbor Totoro. And My Neighbor Totoro was, like, the first film. And then you stay and watch the second film to follow it, which was Grave of the Fireflies.
Interesting.
So, kids, you take your kids to go see this, basically, in theaters, and at least in Japan. And then you watch the next one, you're like, whoa, everybody's dead. It's like, oh, God, poor child. And, dude, I'm so glad I never watched this as a kid, because I probably would have been scarred, like, a lot from this film. But seeing it as an adult, I'm like, dang, that was really sad and horrifying. But I really liked it, and it didn't leave me depressed. It just felt like, wow, what did I just watch? Like, I was really impressed by it. It left a good mark on me. Nothing that, like, I'll definitely remember this film, but I'm not gonna, like, it's not gonna be like Dune 2, where I'm gonna be like, oh my God, what a masterpiece. It's gonna be like, yeah, that was a dang good movie. Like, masterpiece 100%. Totally get why people were calling it that. And I remember we were talking about this movie when Chelsea was on, I think it was episode 30. Actually, the one before our 2 Unconventional War films, where it was episode talking about anime 2, or look who's talking about anime 2. And it was, she's like, it's the most overrated movie of all time, and it sucked, and it's bad, and just, she'll probably comment below the video and be like, no, it was because of this, and this, blah, blah, blah. I get why she doesn't like it, because it's a tragedy, totally. Like, there is zero hope in this movie. And I do have one thing that I have an issue with, but because it's based off a true story, and because it's a choice that a kid makes that, you know, he's a kid, right? So he's not going to make the wisest choice. It makes perfect sense for the film. And I'll get into it later. But overall, what a picture. Cinema, as they'd say. So, if I may, David, let's dive into some trivia for the film. Number 1, most of the illustration outlines in the film are in brown instead of the customary black. Whenever black was used, it was only used when it was absolutely necessary. Color coordinator Michio Yasuda said this was done to give the film a softer feel. Yasuda said that until that point, it had never been used in an anime before. And quote, it was done on a challenge. Yasuda explained that brown is more difficult to use than black because it does not contrast well as that color. Number 2, this film was initially distributed with My Neighbor Totoro, because it was the only way that Miyazaki could have been able to make Totoro. The reason being that the original film pitch that film was rejected, so they pitched a double feature with Grave of the Fireflies. And the project was eventually backed financially by the original writer of the book on which Grave is based. It often was overlooked as a film because whenever Totoro was screened first, people were left happy and did not wish to be saddened by Grave of the Fireflies afterward. So I thought that was interesting because I'm like, man, I feel bad for some kids who their parents made them sit through the one afterward, you know. Number 3, from the start of production, director Isao Takahata wanted to cast appropriately aged children in the roles of Saita and Setsuko. Because the film takes place in this is the one that's Kobe. The search was limited to the Kansai region of Japan in order to find children who spoke the proper dialect. He was introduced to Iyana Shirashi through a regional children's acting company, and he decided to cast her as Setsuko only after hearing 2 sentences. My name is Ayano Shirashi. I am 5 years old. He was later told by one of the company's leaders that they expected that Ayano was too young for the role, and so those were the only lines she had been instructed to recite in the audition. That's funny. Oh. All right, number 4. The fruit drops that Setsuko eats were made by, this is interesting, Sakuma Saika Confectionery, which was established in 1908. The company went out of business during World War II due to the short supply of sugar. But after the war, 2 people from the original company founded 2 new companies, one with the original title or name and selling candies in red tins, the other selling candies in green tins. In 2023, Sakuma released limited edition tin cans that resembled the one seen in the movie. Some variations also have Setsuko on the can. So kind of interesting. Something that I noticed about this film is there are 2 points in the film where Saita looks directly into the camera at the beginning and the end. Kind of like, I mean, this is an original thought, but it's kind of like he was sharing the story. Like, you know, it opens with his dialogue and his narration.
Yeah.
So let's see. The last one is spoilers. So just FYI, here we go. If you haven't seen this film, go watch it. The film is based on a true story. Akiyuki Nosaka lost his little sister during the war to malnutrition, due to malnutrition, and blamed himself for her death. He wrote Hataru no Haka, A Grave of the Fireflies, in 1967 to come to terms with the loss. Pretty interesting. And I don't know any of the behind the scenes about the process of the director getting the rights to it, but I think it's interesting how, hey, we're going to do a double feature, and it's going to be this My Neighbor Totoro and an adaptation of your book, and that's what greenlit him to provide the finances for it. So, pretty interesting.